So beautiful people, the question is pretty simple. Can we save the archers? Or in other words, that's exactly what we're going to do in this episode, a tier list for all archer setup in order to see that important thing, which is the performance. Now, when it comes down to the archers, we have Marshal, Warrior, and Tactician archers. And if we are selecting the Marshal Archers, that's only this setup right now. Now, beautiful people, let me be crystal clear regarding this setup over here. If you would ask me to test a setup like this, honestly speaking, it would be equal in asking me to go outside when it's raining to test if I get wet. So it's pointless. Also taking into consideration that all these tests are done on my main account, beautiful people, I cannot invest my resources in heroes like Napoleon. Sure, looks great, but this hero over here, Henry, it's an absolute catastrophe. When it comes to Saladin, yeah, it's a good option, but as you can see here, this is not good enough. And obviously, I'm giving you guys my recommendation. All you have to do is watch these videos, join us in the comments to discuss specifically on these topics, but you are the one in the end taking the decision for your own account. So those are the Marshal Archers. Now, when it comes down to the Warrior Archers, well, there are a lot of heroes which can be used. And I will gonna include them in this episode ranking, but you know what? Let me show you a very fancy shortcut. So beautiful people, here we are on Timmy's channel. By the way, if you are here, make sure you use that button. It's in German, which means subscribe, as you definitely should support what supports you back. It's absolutely free. And for those of you which spend a little bit here and a little bit there, my recommendation is to take advantage of this channel sponsor, which is Eneba. You find now the link here on the screen and also in the video description. Click on that link, log in, do your purchase, and at the same time, you are massively supporting this channel. And I would like to thank you very much in advance, but we're gonna stay here on my YouTube channel because you know what? Round about 6 months ago, I made a perfect video. So let's go all the way down and find that video, which is basically ranking all warrior archers. So that's this video over here. Now, it has around about 7,000 views, which means, yeah, indeed, a couple of people watched it. So my recommendation is, if you haven't watched this video, go in there and check all those possible setups, because I also have Josephine in there, by the way. I don't have Timur, and it's honestly no rush to add tests with warrior archers, including Timur, because honestly, beautiful people, you will gonna need Timur exactly where he is right now, together with Lubu and with the new cavalry hero coming, as it's gonna be a very tight race between him and Vlad. So taking Timur and use him on the archers would imply to take Vlad from your pikemen to put it on your cavalry, and that will cause a bigger mess. But pretty much all other possible warrior archers are in here. And I'm gonna take from this video the best performance match possible in order to compare it with the Tactician archers. Because this is also one thing which you guys definitely wanted to see. How does Ramses, Charlemagne, and Zhuge Liang performs versus the best warrior archer setup? So make sure you watch this video. And in that specific episode, I have used a different method to test. And if you guys remember, in the quest here, there was a boss, and I was using that boss in order to do this testing, and the match performance was the amount of troops which I was able to kill with that setup. So that video is definitely valid, but we no longer have the possibility to do that. Not to mention that 6 months ago, I had different stats. So therefore, we're gonna take this setup over here, which is really the best one for the warrior archers right now. And that is Mulan with Bellevue and Mehmet. And we're gonna test this versus this setup over here, which is Ramses, Charlemagne, and Zhuge Liang. Now, please pay attention and set Charlemagne as second hero. It's an important tip, not as third. So how we're gonna conduct this test? Super important to mention here, it's gonna be a single target testing. What does that mean? Well, we are hitting the supply boss, but we are taking just the performance versus these pikemen in consideration. The reason is pretty simple. Mulan with Bellevue and Mehmet are not that crazy good when it comes down to AoE, or in other words, that means area of effect, or in other words, hitting multiple targets. So we have to compare these two marches versus a single target, which means in reality, in a rally, it's definitely a 1 versus 1. There are very, very small amount of chances that you on the battlefield will be able to do a 1 versus 1, but in most of the cases, there always going to be at least a second or a third march attacking you. And this fact was going to play a very important role in this episode when we are highlighting the difference between the Tactician Archers and the Warrior Archers with that beautiful graphic. And trust me when I tell you, it's definitely going to be worth it to stick till the end, because we're going to have to draw the conclusion. And of course, now we also have to mention how we have tested this. What have we used? Simply, like Sigame would say, the naked heroes, no gear, no rings, no horses, just the skills. But the skills, of course, are at 5 stars. And you can see it basically right here. That's Ramses, that's Charlemagne, and this is Zhuge Liang. And when it comes down to the warrior setup, well, let me show you that too. All we have to do is scroll all the way down, because I've done even more tests. Take one of these random battle reports, go into the comparison, and it's basically the same story. No gear, no rings, no horses on all 3 heroes. And at the same time, this is actually my main setup for the archers. Now for the new viewers, if you are curious to see what rings, how does the gear look like, what gems am I using, how do the horses look like, the adornments and everything else, then you can come on this channel. And was the video uploaded yesterday is this one, my account review. It shows you my entire account, which setup am I using, how I have set those marches, what rings, gems, horses, adornments, everything. So make sure you watch that video. So beautiful people, you know what? Let's put all 40 battle reports now on the screen, back to back. And now you're seeing the Warrior Archers versus the Tactician Archers. Now, these 20 battle reports are indeed sorted from the best performance possible, always going to be on rank 1, to the worst performance possible, which is here, slot number 20. And the score for these marches is the total damage output, or in this case, it's the average value. So when we have a look at the Warrior Archers, which in this case is Mulan, Bellevue, and Mehmet, that reaches a march score of 69,911 points. Now, when we check on the other side, Ramses, here you have to pay attention again, Charlemagne and Zhuge Liang. I experienced some issue with that screenshot, so I took an older one, so pay attention. The best performance possible in this case is far higher, 183,182 points. The worst performance possible is 64,000. And the march score in this case for the Tactician Archers is 121,200 points, far bigger than the Warrior Archers. But let's put now the graphic on the screen, and I'm going to tell you exactly what does this mean. So beautiful people, this is the graphic. Now here you have to pay attention. The red line represents the Warrior Archers, in this case Mulan, Mehmet and Bellevue, and with the blue line we are marking the Tactician Archers, in this case Ramses, Charlemagne, and then Zhuge Liang. And the difference is massive. Also pay attention to the red interrupted line. This is the average performance of the Warrior Archers. And also in the graphic, we find here the average march performance or the score for the Tactician Archers, which is far, far higher. Now, before I'm going to tell you what exactly is the difference here, let's have a look at the entire battle results interval, because I have some things which I would like to point out. Now, in the cases which you are super unlucky, it's a huge difference between these two setups. And you see it here. Then another interesting thing, you see this flat performance of the Warrior Archers. And if we are judging, let's say, the last 3 values here, which represents the cases in which you are extremely lucky, yeah, you're still not even reaching an average performance of the Tactician Archers. It's an interesting point of view. Now, when it comes down to the Tactician Archers and this result interval, I would like to point out something very interesting because you see some very high spikes or high values which are representing the cases in which you are absolutely super lucky with the hero activation. But beautiful people, these are not just cases 1 in a million years. You already see 5 values being super close to each other, basically in an interval up 160,000 to 180,000, which is, I think for sure, 1 galaxy away from the warrior archers. Now, we know there is a new hero coming for the warrior archers, and I don't have to describe it for you because here is Mr. Sig and his opinion regarding that hero.
Let's start with Arslan. Let's start with Alp Arslan. Arslan is an amazing archer DPS. And the fact that he's not secondary strike as well opens for more opportunities. So you can play with Skyward Knight, for instance, if you want to play with Arslan first. However, and that will make me reconsider Mulan as well. To me, Arslan is a good S hero in terms of DPS. Like if you're playing a free-to-play archer, for instance, then Arslan is definitely an upgrade for you. There is no doubt about that, because free-to-plays don't have Mulan. And that makes me want to put Mulan in A tier, because Arslan is better than Mulan currently.
Okay, so that was Sig pointing out his expectation on that hero, especially because he already played a little bit with him and done some tests. Obviously, as soon as that hero comes for everybody in Age of Empires Mobile, I'm definitely going to test it, but it should not be priority number 1. As you can expect, Scipio and the new hero for the cavalry definitely to be a priority versus that new archer hero. So beautiful people, now what's the difference between these two intervals? A whopping close to 74%. Now let me put that on the screen. It's definitely worth it to point out. 74% a higher average performance for the Tactician archers versus the best performing warrior archer. And that's insane. Now, regardless how the new archer hero coming very, very soon now will gonna impact the warrior archers, the big question is, can we save the archers? Because I'm really a fan of using all 4 different type of setups in order to take also advantage of, for example, arching doing more damage on the swordsman or swordsman doing more damage on the pikemen and so on. So from this perspective, if we take in consideration my account, the only way in which I could use the archers would be actually to take my main swordsman setup, which is at the same time Ramses, Charlemagne and Zhuge Liang, use the gear which I have on my archers right now. Obviously, we're going to have to change the gems. These tests, by the way, again, are done without gear, without gems. And then for the swordsman, well, I'm going to have 2 options. Option number 1 is definitely to go with a Miyamoto, Lageta and Tribiwana, which has a lower performance than Ramses, Charlemagne and Zhuge Liang. You also find a video on this channel showing you that. Or maybe it would be time for me to start developing my King Arthur.
Wow. Yeah, finally.
Now, there is no hurry, especially taking into consideration that the hero is already 1 year old, so I'm kind of a bit skeptical about that. But taking in consideration what Scipio does, from what we've seen so far, I think slowly I'm gonna have to ask myself more and more the question, should I get my King Arthur to 5 stars? And if I will decide to do that, I want to take full advantage of this occasion. In other words, we have an entire swordsman tier list video. And I would like to include King Arthur in there, but starting with 1-star King Arthur, then 3 stars King Arthur, and obviously from 3 stars to 5 stars, it's going to be even more expensive. And it would be interesting to see his performance at this key stars level, 1, 3, and 5 stars. Now, we are not entirely done with this graphic, beautiful people, as I have to mention something as important as everything else till now. Have you paid attention at the beginning of the video when I said I was going to have to test from the single target perspective, which is kind of still usable in Age of Empires Mobile, presuming you are in a rally, or indeed it's just a 1 versus 1. It's rarely the case, but it's possible. But taking in consideration Tactician archers do indeed have a massive AoE due to the signature skill of Ramses, or in other words, hitting multiple targets. If this test would have been between these two setups, but taking into consideration all 4 marches attacking me at the same time, this difference of, again, I repeat myself, 74% would be even bigger. So yeah, can we save the archers in Age of Empires Mobile? Definitely we can, by using this fantastic setup, Ramses, Charlemagne, and Zhuge Liang as archers. We're still gonna have a solid alternative for the swordsmen, that will be the warriors. And now let me know what you think in the video comments. And as always, beautiful people, support what supports you back. You should already know how to do that by now, as life is a giving from my side, but also taking, which is from your side. With that being said, beautiful people, thank you very much for watching, and I'm gonna catch you in the next awesome episode. Ciao, ciao, ciao.